Hello, dear friends. Today I wanted to invite you to join me for a book club. And today is the first day we're going to read into this beautiful book, Extraordinary You by Jacqueline Ortiz. And if you know me pretty well, you know that Jacqueline Ortiz was my business partner, and she passed away back in November. And so over these last several months, I've been contemplating what is the best way that I could honor her. And I know we had talked about doing a book club. And so I'm launching a book club where I'm bringing some beautiful books to you, to the front of mind, so that we can start creating movements for helping people to transform their lives. And so I wanted to start with Extraordinary You, a synergistic approach to transforming your life from ordinary to extraordinary. So sit back, relax, and I'm going to read to you the first chapter. So we start with part 1 is called the discovery phase. The discovery phase is designed to discover and evaluate at what point in your life journey you are and how you manage the aspects of your life that you find challenging. You have a vested interest in transforming your life into an extraordinary one. How do you transform your life? First, describe your vision of an extraordinary life. What does it look like? What does it feel like? Then identify and be willing to peel off the masks that you've been hiding behind, so that when you are at a major crossroad in your life, your authentic self can valiantly lead the way forward, the way toward your heartfelt desires and highest good. And Jacqueline did that. Jacqueline didn't hide behind masks. Jacqueline was vibrant and full of life. And so we go into chapter 1. Chapter 1, embarking on your journey. The point of no return is where realization meets awareness. You may not be thrilled to hear this, but for most people, the start of the quest for an extraordinary life is a rocky one. Your very identity will feel challenged and scrutinized. You may feel compelled to shed parts of yourself that have been holding you back all along. Rest assured that while you might be setting sail across choppy waters, a much better place awaits you on the other side. The reward for embarking on your quest is your resurrection to a more joyful, more purposeful, more passionate, authentic self. Your authentic self is not who you think you are or identify yourself to be, the ego. Rather, it is what you are. Your authentic self is immortal and non-physical. It is your inner essence, your soul. Awareness of your authentic self is the key to reconnecting with it and re-emerging as a whole. Trust in the process and have faith that a little discomfort along your pilgrimage will be a catalyst for transformation and deep inner healing. If you picked up this book in the first place, you're probably already feeling at least a hint of restlessness and yearning for something more. These feelings will get stronger before they subside. As you read on, take comfort that you aren't alone. Anyone beginning this quest must endure some rough seas. I promise you that it will be worth it in the end, because you are worth it. The point of no return. The point of no return is when your sense of uneasiness and restlessness grows to a feeling of dissatisfaction. As you approach that point, your life feels more and more mundane and monotonous. There's no rhyme or reason, no purpose. As you grow more disappointed, you may begin experiencing feelings of worthlessness or feeling unimportant, average, ordinary, just one more person going through the motions of working, paying the bills, and surviving. You feel that there must be more to life than the mindless pursuit of material possessions, clawing up the corporate ladder, raising exemplary children, striving for the perfect marriage and an impeccable home, and keeping up with the Joneses, in short, going through the motions of living. The point of no return is when that feeling is too uncomfortable to ignore. Welcome it. This is the empowering leverage that you need in order to transform your life. The point of no return is when you stop claiming, at least to yourself, if you aren't yet ready to go public with it, that you are living the perfect life you have always envisioned. It is when you awaken from the fairy tale and start to evaluate your life choices, and your direction in life. How did you go from a dynamic, optimistic human with dreams and aspirations to an overstressed, overworked, human robot barely functioning on automatic pilot? Once you ask this type of question, there's no going back. At this point, you can't retreat into ignorance, bury yourself in denial, or pretend that you are living the life you envisioned. Because in the recesses of your soul, you know it ain't so. Now you know better. Welcome these feelings of uncertainty and unrest. It is your authentic self alerting you to your unlimited and untapped potential. You are more powerful than you could ever imagine. You can do and be anything when you synergistically fuse your heart and your mind to fulfill your heart's true desire. As Walt Disney said, if you can't dream it, you can't do it. My first inkling of restlessness was dissatisfaction with my career and myself. I felt depressed and frustrated. I felt like I was selling out because deep within I felt that I should be doing something that more closely resonated with my character and my interests, something more meaningful and fulfilling. I really craved that something, but I wasn't sure what it was, and I allowed uncertainty and fear to get in the way. The point of no return for me was the first morning that I woke up unwilling or unable to choke back the tears of utter discontent and despair. There were many mornings like this to follow, but it was that first blustery, cold, rainy morning that was the real wake-up call for me. I could no longer continue living a lie or lying to the people that I loved. I had lost my path, and worse, I had spent so much time and energy pretending and suppressing my feelings and desires that I felt disconnected from my authentic self and desires. From the outside looking in, I had so much to be grateful for. I was happily married to my soulmate. I had a wonderful family, house, clothes, car, and exotic travel. Yet I wasn't truly happy. Sure, there were glimpses of happiness here and there, but on the whole, I wasn't happy. I could no longer deny or suppress the need for a purpose grander than the superficial material pursuits on which I had been focused. I longed for inner fulfillment. I felt that I had no sense of self, no reason to get up in the morning, no passion. I questioned my purpose for life. I couldn't pinpoint exactly how, when, or where I had lost myself, but I had. I would look at myself in the mirror, and physically it was the same face staring back at me. Nonetheless, it was a stranger staring back at me. This transformation didn't happen overnight. It was a gradual process of compromises, of withholding my opinions, of settling, of traveling the road of least resistance, of biting my tongue, of suppressing my feelings, of trying to appease others. of trying to conform to proper social behavior, and of doing the right things for all the wrong reasons. I had compromised my integrity, my life path, and my happiness for what I had perceived as the proper course in life. Now the time had come for me to find out who I really was and what my true purpose was, and there was no going back. You may think that reaching the point of no return is scary. It is, but it isn't. At least it's not nearly as scary as committing to a life of less than, or settling, or merely existing. Reaching the point of no return is liberating. True story. The restless sensation and the craving for something more will always reside within you, gnawing away at your inner peace, your present moment, your authentic joy, until you address it and give it a voice. Allow it to flourish. Then and only then will you bask in your loving glory of being in the universal flow of pure, undaunted bliss and joy. This brings us to extraordinary size number 1. So get out a pen and paper right now, because these are golden. These are gold. Our extraordinary sizes are our gold nuggets, and they're going to guide us back home to our true self. Before you can get to where you want to go, you first have to evaluate where you are now. So where are you right now? Describe what your life looks and feels like. At what point of your life do you find yourself right now? Are you satisfied with your inner self? Are you excited about the life that you are living and where you are headed? Have you hit the point of no return? You probably have, otherwise you wouldn't be reading this book. If you are not yet ready to admit that you have hit the point of no return, for the next few minutes, just pretend that you have. How would you recognize it? What would the point of no return feel like for you? Who would you need to evolve into to become an extraordinary human being? Becoming an extraordinary human becoming. Human becoming implies someone who is evolving and open to undergoing growth and personal development, while the term human being is more suggestive of having already been formed and developed, and therefore being more dormant or set in one's ways. So now, go ahead and pause this video, and I would love for you to write down the answers to these questions. Where are you at right now? Describe what your life looks and feels like. At what point in your life do you find yourself right now? Are you satisfied with your inner self? Are you excited about the life that you are living and where you're headed? Have you hit the point of no return? How would you recognize it? What would the point of no return feel like for you? And who would you need to evolve into to become an extraordinary human becoming? So now pause this video and answer each one of these questions, because we're going to take this book page by page, because it was lovingly created and it is a work of heart. And it was one of Jacqueline's greatest visions on her vision board to become a best-selling author. And back in February of 2023, her and I set out to make that a reality. It did become an Amazon bestseller in 9 different categories, and we fulfilled that vision for her. And it was with so much pride, honoring love and excitement and joy to help that become a reality. So, for you to answer these questions is part of a legacy of love. So, I had told Jacqueline, my legacy of love is to help guide 1 million people back to their heart. And you get to be one of those million. And then Jacqueline tried to one-up me. And she said, well, my life mission is to, I believe it was help 8 million people to do a loving act unto themselves, and then to share that love and create a loving act for someone else in their life. So I'm sharing that vision with you because this is an act of love that you get to do in Jacqueline's memory and honor for yourself. And that is helping to fulfill her legacy, her vision of helping 8 million people. I got a lot of work in front of me to do that loving act for themselves and invite someone else. So my loving act to you, each one of you, is to do these extraordinary sizes with me, to read this book together and help Jacqueline's vision become a reality. And I can tell you that I had just taken a JOB where I was helping to manage a home, a sober living home for young women who were struggling with addiction back in Los Angeles. And the week that I started that job was the week that I was trying to get a hold of Jacqueline, and I was like, what's going on? How come I can't reach Jacqueline? And had found out that she had passed away, and she had had an accident where she had fallen on a hike, and she had gotten a little scrape, and she thought that she had gotten it cleaned out, but unfortunately it had turned into an infection, and that infection had compromised her organs, and she went into organ failure. And so if you're a friend of Jacqueline Ortiz, you are a friend of mine, and we've been on this journey of recovery and grief together. And I want you to know that there's just so much love here. There's so much love in this book. And if you haven't taken the time to read it yet, this is a way of honoring her spirit, and sharing the love. And so we're going to read it together. And I'm so happy to be here with you. And I know she's one of my biggest cheerleaders. I know she's one of your biggest cheerleaders. So no matter what you're going through in your life, we're bringing you into your extraordinary you. And we're doing it together. And so we still have part of chapter 1 left. So thank you for allowing me to take this short break and share this message of love with you, because it's part of my healing. And if you are a part of Jacqueline's life, I hope this is a part of your healing too. And, or you know what? We can't do this alone. We can't do this life alone. For a long time, I was a lone wolf. I was trying to do it alone. And I've realized that I can't do it alone. And I've been a lone wolf. I've been the lone wolf. Ho, ho, ho. And I'm not going to do that anymore. I've got beautiful people on my team now. And Jacqueline was part of that team, and she still is. So let her be your angelic cheerleader, calling you forward, and allow her spirit to come through you, and allow this vision to rise even bigger, because this is a beautiful book. And if you're catching the drift of what you've experienced so far, you know that it is. And so feel free to invite people on this journey, people you know that might be struggling. My background is I'm a transformational life coach, as well as a resilience and recovery mentor. I help people to traverse the dark night of the soul, which Jacqueline Ortiz was always the half of the J&J power duo that was the rah-rah, cheering them forward and calling them into their blissful, joyful self. And that expanded state of self-love that we all get to embody. And mine was, you know, I'm there for people when they're going through the dark stuff, the hard stuff, you know, the stuff that weighs on your heart and your soul. And so we made a really great team, and we still do. And I'm bringing her energy in as it deserves to be here now. So, how'd you do with your answers? Did some beautiful things come into your awareness about where you've shifted, where you've conformed, where you might have put masks on, and what your life looks like now? And I can tell you, I just left my job about a month ago, went on a journey, because I'm a bit of a mystical nomad. So if you're one of those mystical people in the room with me, that's part of who I am. It's very spiritual, very, very connected to the divine. My work is about calling you forward into your divine destiny, and knowing your extraordinary you is a big part of that. And so for me, I've been on a healing journey. My life, it doesn't look like a bed of roses. I've went through a lot of grief, a lot of loss, the last 10 years. But in the last few years, I've lost my sister, I've lost my mom, I lost my dad, I lost my business partner. And they're my angelic team. They are my cheerleaders. And so if you're struggling with grief, I want you to take a moment and just feel into where you're at right now on your journey. Like Jacqueline says here, at what point in your life do you find yourself right now? Are you satisfied with your inner self? Because this is an inside job. Nobody can do it for you, and you have to take 100% responsibility. This is about self-agency, gaining your sovereign understanding of your power to change your life. And when I saw this book, when I started reading this book, I said, Jacqueline, what are you doing with this? I said, because she originally wrote this book, it was like 10 years ago. And when I picked it up, I said, Jacqueline, this is the book that I was going to write. Like, everything is in this book, and it is. It really is. So rather than rewrite what she's written, I'm honoring her love as part of this J&J power duo, and I'm bringing her work into the world, and I'm bringing me into the world, and I'm bringing my work into the world, but we're doing it together. So if you lost somebody, their essence, their life, their you coming into your extraordinary you and shining your light is part of that journey of honoring them. Not being sad that they're not with you, not being sad that they're gone, but honoring their life by you living yours is one of the greatest gifts you could ever give. So I'm bringing that message through today. So no, my life doesn't look like a bed of roses right now. There's a lot that's going great in my life. There really is. Because I'm standing in my power. I'm speaking my truth. I'm being authentically me. I've taken off all the masks. I'm not falling back into codependent patterns. And I'm shining my light. And I'm showing up. And we have to first show up for ourselves. And that's when we can show up for the others that we love in our life, show up for one another. But it's not by being the lone wolf. And I learned that. So that was part of what my life used to look like. Okay, here we go. Fight or flight. An extraordinary person doesn't cravenly take flight or foolishly fight the tides of fate. Rather, he steadfastly holds his heartfelt desires to the light, confident in his manifesting ability. She's with us. She's with us. Okay, here we go. We love you, Jacqueline. Thank you for being with us. By crossing the point of no return and admitting dissatisfaction with your life, you have taken a risk. You have opened Pandora's box, and with it comes a rush of apprehension and uncertainty. You may feel vulnerable and confused. These feelings cause great discomfort. Humans typically will do more to avoid suffering, pain, and discomfort than they will do to get satisfaction, gratification, joy, and pleasure. True story. Those patterns in our head are so strong. Okay, I'm reading. Focus. Focus, Jacqueline. Okay. Think about it. You may want to lose weight, but diets, exercise, and being deprived of your favorite foods seem like too high a price to pay. You want to lose weight, you really want to, but the immediate pain of not eating dessert is more painful than the pleasure of losing weight in the distant future. So you indulge. Let's say you want to lose weight so you can look and feel better, sexier, but you are at a party. The drinks are flowing, the hors d'oeuvres are to die for, and the desserts are sinfully delicious. In the heat of the moment, the immediate pain of not indulging in the food is more powerful and intense than the future pleasure of losing weight. It is far easier to avoid immediate pain than to plan for an uncertain pleasure in the distant future. It's far easier, safer, and less painful to live as you always have. You can try to justify it, saying that your life isn't so bad, or that you don't want to take scary risks that may complicate your life further. Or you may try to convince yourself that you are happy with the status quo because at least you have certainty. You make a decent living, are able to pay your bills, and so on. You may be afraid to start questioning or making changes in your life. What if you fail? You can reason that failure would be too painful, and then you would have to have made all those sacrifices for nothing. The main reason for not investing time and effort in yourself is fear. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of the unknown, fear of not being good enough, fear of looking stupid, fear of trusting that you are capable of so much more, fear of trusting that things will work out in the grand scheme of things. Fear is a crutch for living life on the sidelines. Fear is the root of more dissatisfaction, suffering, sabotage, failed dreams, and abandoned dreams than all of the other emotions. If you are not content with how your life has turned out, fear is the culprit. Fears are shaped out of our experiences, vivid imaginations, beliefs, and expectations. Fear is at the root of who and where we are today. Fear can be a debilitating, consuming emotion, robbing you of joy, freedom, and your highest potential. We humans typically go to extremes to stay within our comfort zones. When you postpone your life purpose out of fear, what you are really doing is dismissing and sacrificing your soul. This is where fight or flight comes in. You can attempt to fight it by avoiding or postponing your subconscious urge for something more, by engaging in a battle of wills between your conscious and subconscious. You go about this by becoming totally resolute about suppressing and denying your desires and urges and continuing your current path. You dive in harder and faster to prove to yourself and everyone that you are satisfied with your current life path. You become more determined about or obsessed with achieving, acquiring, and winning. The more you strive to prove to yourself and others that you are on the right path, and that you don't need to alter your life based on some whimsical desire, the further off course you go. Suppressing won't make your urges disappear, because what you resist will persist. I fought a formidable battle. I continuously suppressed and ignored my desire for a new career. And even after I finally admitted how desperate and miserable I was in my job, I remained glued to my career. Some of my most used excuses were that the money was good, the economy wasn't favorable for career hunting, I didn't know what I wanted to do, a job is better than no job, and a career change would mean going back to school, which meant time and money. So I just pretended that everything was fine. And when in reality, my soul was quietly and slowly being smothered. An alternative is to take flight, run away, retreat, hide from the world, give up, fold under pressure. It's like being a deer caught in the headlights. You're frozen with fear. You experience inertia. Your fear holds you to certainty, to the familiar, to the tried and true. You know there's something more, but you don't have the courage to chase it. You see and feel life passing you by, but you feel helpless to do anything about it. The more hopeless you feel, the more you take flight and retreat from the world. You resort to the path of least resistance. After all, it's far easier to avoid immediate pain than to pursue the tentative possibility of future pleasure. When you take the path of least resistance, there's a high price to pay. You miss out on the true joy in life. As the saying goes, what you ignore will grow. For example, if you ignore a disease like cancer, it will grow and spread. You must eradicate it at the root. Ignoring it and denying it won't make it go away. It'll keep growing and coming back until you get to the root of it. When faced with a choice, I took flight. I retreated from people, from the world. I became disillusioned with my life, my career, and my choices in life. I felt lost. I grew more frustrated, restless, bored, confused, and desperate to assuage the growing uneasiness and discomfort. Overwhelmed by these emotions, I chose to flee. I quit my job as a financial consultant and retreated into the cocoon of my home. This was a rather drastic measure, but I felt desperate. I needed time to sort through all the emotions I was experiencing. Like most people, I once had such high hopes and expectations for what I wanted out of my life. I thought I would step out and put my mark in the world. When my dreams fell flat on their faces, I felt such a sense of frustration and failure that all I could do was retreat from the world. I found myself at home, feeling sorry for myself. Frustrated, confused, and bored. But also throwing a pity party for one. One day blended seamlessly into the next. Surprise, surprise. After squandering many years of my life dwelling on my past mistakes, missed opportunities, and regrets, it finally dawned on me that moping around wasn't going to magically reveal my life's purpose. What I needed was to formulate a comprehensive game plan to bring back the oomph that had been missing in my life. I refused to waste another day sulking or pouting. I had passed the point of no return and hit rock bottom. It finally dawned on me that not doing something about it would make things even more unbearable later on, in terms of lost time, self-esteem, regrets, and resentment. I knew that I had to act. It became my mission. I read over 1,000 books and researched, learned, and incorporated numerous tools and techniques to transform my life. Depending on your personal experiences, your circumstances, and your personality, your initial reaction may be either fight or flight. But don't succumb to either one. Rather, be conscious that either reaction is like putting a masking tape on the problem. It's just patching things up until they become undone at the seams. Whether you consciously or subconsciously choose to fight or run, you are only postponing the inevitable. Avoiding doesn't just delay the inevitable pain. It also postpones your inner peace, joy, and bliss. You must take a leap of faith. Trust yourself. Follow your heartfelt desire. Surrender to the silent whispers and inner urges of your authentic self, which is awakening the desire within you to follow your heart. To step outside of your comfort zone and to live your life to the fullest. Listen to your heart. Your authentic self knows what it needs in order to feel whole. Even if you aren't yet sure what that is, don't despair. You will know. Just read on and complete the extraordinary sizes, and your authentic self will reveal them to you. We all come to this universe with free will and special skills, talents, and interests that influence the life purposes that we choose. But while we may have the freedom to discover, learn, and fulfill our life purposes or not, avoiding the lessons is next to impossible. Whether by choice or by coincidence, we attract lessons our souls need in order to evolve and grow. Our life lessons will be presented to us over and over again under different circumstances with different characters until we learn the lessons or literally die trying. I know because I kept chasing after jobs to make a great living, but none that would create a great life. By creating a great life, I'm talking about a job in which I would feel a sense of satisfaction and fulfillment. And the harder I worked at succeeding at each of those jobs, just to make a great living, the more success and inner joy eluded me. When I learned this lesson and consciously chose to pursue a career, not just for what I could take or make, but also for what I could contribute, I started to experience a sense of alignment between my authentic self and my authentic desire to live my life at a higher, more gratifying level. The extraordinary sizes, tools, and techniques I'm sharing with you in this book are based on the same principles I used to transform my personal life, from sheer despair and confusion over how I wanted to live my life. I went to discover my personal definition and vision of what an extraordinary life is for me. Through diligent hard work and some trial and error, I discovered my life purpose My life purpose is to beautify, create, coach, educate, inspire, motivate myself and others to live extraordinary lives, rich in personal growth, passion, faith, joy, love, laughter, and abundance. My vision of an extraordinary life is my unique expression of what a meaningful life means to me. On the surface, we may want similar things, such as a great career or a great relationship, but the details are different for each of us. The trick is for you to find your unique vision of an extraordinary life. By diligently reading this book and completing the extraordinary sizes, you too will be able to transform your life into your very own definition and vision of extraordinary. Extraordinary size number 2. It is your life. Are you going to fight or take flight? If so, what will it cost you emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually? 3, 6, 9, 18 years from now? How will settling for you? How will settling for this life make you feel? If you chose to listen to the urges and follow your heart's desire, how would you be rewarded emotionally, physically, mentally, and spiritually? 3, 6, 9, 18 years from now? How will living an extraordinary life on your terms make you feel? If you feel that living an extraordinary life is worth it, then read on, so that you can compile and implement the tools and techniques to transform your life. So pause the recording. Go ahead and answer these questions. Extraordinary size number 2. It is your life. Are you going to fight or take flight? If so, what will it cost you emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually 3, 6, 9, or 18 years from now? How will settling for this life make you feel? If you chose to listen to your urges and follow your heart's desire, connect here. Breathe in. Regulate your nervous system. Breathe in. Feel into your heart. If you chose to listen to your urges and follow your heart's desire, how will you be rewarded emotionally, physically, mentally, and spiritually 3, 6, 9, and 18 years from now? How will living an extraordinary life on your terms make you feel? Go ahead and pause and answer those questions. Those are powerful questions. Because if you continue on the path that you're on, how will your life be next year, 2 years from now, actually 3 years from now, 6 years from now, 9 years from now, 18 years from now? And a powerful question for me is, if I don't take action now and I don't change what needs to change in my life to bring my vision out, because life is now. And I look back in a year from now, in 12 months, and I look back and my life is the same, what will be the pain of that? And for me, that would be devastating, because I know there's so much inside of me that I get to bring into the world. Just like you have so much inside of you for your life, for your vision, whatever that looks like. And if you go for it with all of your heart and build on the vision of the pleasure, of the joy, of what honoring your heart and your passion will feel like, what will that bring into your life? So Jacqueline and I, we were on a parallel journey. Okay, so pause, answer the questions, and then come back. So Jacqueline and I, the J&J Power Duo, we were on a very parallel journey until we met. And we met in 2018, I believe it was. So 6 years ago. And we didn't realize how parallel our journey was until we started working together. And it was amazing. And that's why I said when I picked up this book, it was like she wrote my book. Because so much of what she writes about here was how I felt. What started my journey of feeling lost, of feeling like I'd been conforming in life, of feeling like I wanted to climb in a hole and not come out, of being alone, of pity parties and letting fear win. No, we're not going to let that happen. If that's happening to you, it stops today. Okay, so we're still on chapter 1, so I'm going to keep going here because I wanted to get through one chapter every day, and I know there's a lot here. This book, Extraordinary You, is filled with so much juice and content of the essence of Jacqueline, and I'm so happy she wrote this book. I'm so happy she wrote this book. Peeling off the mask. If people would put as much effort into living authentically as they put into erecting, preserving, and perfecting their masks, there wouldn't be a need for masquerade parties. Now that you've resisted the fight or flight response and committed yourself to your quest for an extraordinary life, the next step is to examine the masks that you have used in order to cope. These disguises will only impede you in your effort to become your authentic self. We all wear masks for one reason or another. Different people wear different masks under different circumstances. There are many reasons why we create masks: to disguise the people that we are, to project the people we want to be, and to portray the people we are expected to be. Masks are the fortresses we erect to protect ourselves from outsiders. We adorn our masks depending on the circumstances. We can have different masks to express our cultural, societal, ideological, environmental, geopolitical, and geographical beliefs and behaviors. For instance, in the workforce, often we choose to don masks of complacency. We bite our tongues, reassure the customers that they are always right, and ditto for the boss, rather than telling them where they can shove it to avoid losing our jobs. Or you can just quit and follow your heart's desire. Whether you want to admit it, I'm sorry. Whether you want to admit it or not, we all don masks to one extent or another. Let's face it, the mask you wear with your significant other is not the same mask you wear with your best friend, employer, co-workers, children, or your family members. There are also different degrees to which people identify with their masks. Some people wear masks for fun, some for escape, and still others need their masks to function at a particular level. For example, at their jobs. For years, I wore a mask at work, portraying contentment, competence, and composure, even when in reality, I was miserable and overwhelmed by the amount of work, office politics, and the stress level of the job. The degree to which you need your mask can let you know how far off course you have veered from your authentic self. What you need to do is to ask yourself why you wear the masks that you do, and to what degree do you rely on your masks. For years, I've been living a lie. I pretended to be happy. People are attracted to happy, cheerful people, so I created a fun-loving, happy mask in order to be more popular. Mine is a prime example of how a mask can take on a life of its own. Initially, I wore my mask only at work. After all, the other aspects of my life were great. But over time, as my misery at being overworked, overstressed, and dissatisfied with my job spilled into other areas of my life, I began donning my mask during other times of the day to mask how miserable I felt. After all, I figured I didn't want to burden loved ones or bum other people out. Besides, it would conflict with my persona of a fun-loving, happy-go-lucky gal. The mask started to consume my life and then my authentic self. Once you create a mask, it has a way of gaining its own momentum and creating a life of its own. When friends, coworkers, family members, or clients asked about my job or the topic of work came up, I felt a need to put my mask right back on. I would smile and say that everything was great and pretend to be merry. But the weight of the lies kept growing on my shoulders with every reference to work. I felt like such a failure for making a short-sighted career decision and then compounding it by not having the guts to make the necessary changes. My mask had eroded the self-confidence and self-esteem that I needed to trust that the people in my life would love me for who I really was. To make matters worse, I felt guilty for being so ungrateful for all of the blessings in my life. Surely, I reasoned, one couldn't be happy with everything in her life. So I suffered in silence until the day that I no longer could. Every day was stressful. But on one particular day, I actually got in trouble for doing my job. The first thing in the morning, a client complained to my manager that I had called too late the prior evening and disturbed him, after he had left me an urgent message to call him. The stock market had been going down for a few days, and I was getting bombarded with irate customers demanding answers as to why their portfolios were going down and asking what I was going to do about it. To make matters worse, I left work later than usual that evening, and as I walked the couple of blocks to my car in the dark, a group of teenage punks started harassing and following me on their bicycles. Frightened and flustered, I rushed to my car, jumped in, and took off. Needless to say, by that time, I was exhausted, angry, and scared. I just couldn't take it anymore. Feeling powerless and overwhelmed, I broke down and cried during the whole drive home. Once home, I asked myself tough questions, similar to the ones I outlined in this chapter. I made a commitment to transform my life, and I finally proudly admitted, not only to myself, but also to anyone that would listen, that I wasn't happy. That I wanted, no, I deserved more. Finally, after all the years of wearing my happy people-pleaser mask, I gathered the courage to peel off my mask. This was one of the single most liberating things I've ever done in my life. When I tore off my mask, all of the lies, the guilt, the shame, and the self-imposed martyrdom were lifted from me. I felt free to express my authentic self, flaws and all. And I finally realized and was comfortable with the notion that even if people didn't like or want to be around the real me, they weren't worth the sacrifice of my authentic self and integrity. This was a hard lesson to learn, but because of it, I now surround myself with people and things that are in harmony with my authentic self. This brings me more joy, passion, and my life is richer for it. Peeling off our masks initially makes us feel exposed and vulnerable, not only within our own skins, but to the public as well. This is the point where you realize that you are no longer willing to live a lie. You must purge the bad and the ugly in order to realize your higher self, one you are proud to call your authentic self. Peeling off our masks is a fundamental step toward authentic healing. What are you hiding from? Is it an aspect of yourself that you think is ugly or undesirable? Or do you wear a mask for self-survival? Is it easier, safer, and more exciting to wear a mask than to be the real you? Or is it because you have worn the mask for so long that you've lost sight of the real you? As long as you are hiding behind the security blanket of your mask, you can't discover your purpose. Along with each mask you create a whole story to accompany the mask. The story is what you pretend to yourself and others to be, because it is more glamorous and exciting. Women in particular create stories of rosy fairy tale romance, when in reality the passion is gone, or their significant others are indifferent or even having affairs. But rather than admit it, they paint a romantic picture of their relationship. What can happen over time is that a person gets so entrenched in his elaborate story that the lines between reality and fantasy begin to blur. You prefer to live the story you created for the mask, rather than inhabiting the reality you are living right now. The mask becomes an escape mechanism for what's not working in your life. This is when, consciously or unconsciously, you slowly start to disconnect from your authentic self. The story starts to get a life of its own. Momentum grows, and before you know it, you are way off course, making choices and pursuing things that you hadn't totally planned, but which sort of fell into place with the script you are living. Your life pursues a course of its own, and you don't ask what your soul truly needs in order to feel authentic bliss. This is how you have picked up various behaviors, habits, and beliefs. For example, you always planned to go to college and pursue a particular career, but you got this great opportunity and the money is great. You reason that you can use the money to save for college or an apartment, but years later you are still working in an industry that you hate. The money is still great, and with all the bills that you've racked up, and you can't possibly quit now. So you keep on keeping on. Your clients and boss will never know just how miserable you are because you wear your happy face. And you go the extra mile, all the while striving for the corner office. Peeling off the mask is a very scary thing. It exposes the real you, warts and all. Often a person will start peeling off a mask only to discover that there's an intricate underground network of layers of masks. Each layer is a remnant of some part of you that needs healing. You created each layer of your mask in order to protect and disguise a vulnerable part of you that you felt couldn't measure up to the stringent scrutiny of society. Each layer needs to be exposed to light for examination. Bring to light the parts of yourself that you are confused about or are uncomfortable with. or afraid of or ashamed of. Identify them and then heal them. Only then can you heal your authentic self. This brings us to extraordinary 3. Examine the dynamics of the relationships in which you feel you can't be your true self. Make a list of those people with whom you feel a need to put on airs, disguise, suppress, or pretend that you are someone other than your authentic self. Next to each person, describe the mask that you wear when you are with him or her. How do you behave and react differently? How are your thinking, beliefs, and emotions influenced by their presence? Why do you allow others to influence how you feel about yourself? Why is the need to be accepted more important than your need to be true to yourself? Next, what life experience has made you think that this disowned part of yourself is so ugly to the extent that you feel it needs to be hidden or suppressed rather than accepted and healed? How does using the crutch of your masks make you feel? And what is the payoff? I'll read that one again. How does using the crutch of your masks makes you feel? And what is your payoff? Define what living authentically means for you. Don't just mentally or mechanically answer the questions. Give yourself permission to truly feel the emotions. So I fully believe that in order to heal it, you must feel it. And so this is an opportunity for you to pause the video. Take time to journal these answers to these questions. This extraordinary size is gold. It's going to let you know where you leave yourself, why you feel lost, and it's going to give you clues on how to regain your authentic self. So I'm going to say extraordinary size, number 3, one more time. Examine the dynamics of the relationships in which you feel you can't be true to yourself. 1, make a list of those people with whom you feel a need to put on airs, disguise, suppress, or pretend that you are someone other than your authentic self. 2, next to each person, describe the mask that you wear when you are with him or her. How do you behave and react differently? How are your thinking, beliefs, and emotions influenced by their presence? 3, why do you allow others to influence how you feel about yourself? Why is the need to be accepted more important than your need to be true to yourself? 4, what life experience has made you think that this disowned part of yourself is so ugly to the extent that you feel it needs to be hidden or suppressed rather than accepted and healed? 5, how does using the crutch of your masks make you feel? And what is your payoff? There's always a payoff. 6, I'm holding the book. 6, define what living authentically means for you. And number 7, don't just mentally or mechanically answer the questions. Give yourself permission to truly feel the emotions. So pause the video, take time, answer, and we're going to move right into extraordinary size number 4. We just got a couple pages left, and I'm going to keep going because I committed to reading a chapter every sitting so that we would have all the tools that we need to move forward powerfully together in alignment as a collective, reclaiming our power, our truth, and becoming our authentic self, becoming extraordinary you, because I believe in you. I know we can do this together. And I'm so honored to be here with you. I'm so honored to be here with Jacqueline, bringing her spirit out. We're doing this together to honor our dear Jacqueline Ortiz. And extraordinary size number 4. Unfortunately, most people are too quick to abandon or compromise on their heart's desires. I wholeheartedly believe that you can have it all. You just have to be willing and committed. Are you? Are you committed? Are you committed to you? Are you committed to your extraordinary you that is inside of you? Yes, your extraordinary you is inside of you. It's waiting to come out. And this book is going to help you to uncover her or him. Are you willing to go within and do the necessary work to excavate your authentic self? 2. Are you willing to quit making excuses and lying to yourself to justify who you are, the masks you wear, and the quality of your life? 3. Are you willing to bury your masks and live authentically? 4. Are you willing to follow your heart's desire? 5. Are you really willing and committed? Answer carefully and honestly, because this is precisely what you are going to be doing if you choose to continue on this pilgrimage toward excavating and transforming yourself in your life. Okay, we're going to read that one more time. Take notes if you need to. Extraordinary size number 4. Unfortunately, most people are too quick to abandon or compromise on their heart's desires. I wholeheartedly believe that you can have it all. You can have it all. You just have to be willing and committed. Are you? Let's be willing and committed together. I'm willing. Are you? I'm committed. Are you? We're in this together. Are you willing to go within and do the necessary work to excavate your authentic self? Are you willing? Number 2. Are you willing to quit making excuses and lying to yourself to justify who you are, the masks you wear, and the quality of your life? 3. Are you willing to bury your masks and live authentically? 4. Are you willing to follow your heart's desires? 5. Are you really willing and committed? Answer carefully and honestly, because this is precisely what you are going to be doing if you choose to continue in this pilgrimage. We're together in this together, becoming extraordinary you, toward excavating and transforming yourself and your life. Extraordinary tidbit. In order for you to truly heal, you must be willing and committed to consciously and authentically complete every extraordinary size. I didn't do all the extraordinary sizes. I skipped a few. I skipped a lot of them. That's my confession. but I'm willing and committed now because she's watching. There's that little devil on one shoulder and the little angel on the other, and you know that little devil on this shoulder is connected to the collective darkness that's kind of sucking us in, and it's saying, you don't need to do that. You got this. You got this. And then the little angel over here says, sweetie, you still get to heal. Like, there's stuff in here. This is gold. This is mining gold. These are your gold nuggets. And when you get to the end of Extraordinary You, it's going to be your gold mine. This is where your life truly transforms. And I'm not saying that because she was my business partner. This really is an amazing book. It really is. And honoring her, I'm going to do every one of these extraordinary sizes because I know there's more that I get to uncover. I've been a spiritual coach and a transformation. I've been doing energy work and for over 20 years. I've been a Reiki master for over 20 years. I've been a spiritual health coach for 15 years. I was lead coach for Abundant Love Mastery. I've been on this journey a long time. So my brain was saying, you don't need to do these. Like, you've got this. You've done all this. But as my heart is healing from all of this grief and realizing, yep, there's some things here. There's some things here. So I am committed and willing to do all these extraordinary sizes with you. So we're not skipping. I'm not skipping. I'm committed. Are you committed? Are you willing? So, extraordinary tidbit. In order for you to truly heal, you must be willing and committed to consciously and authentically complete every extraordinary size. It is too tempting to skip an exercise. It is. With the promise that you'll get back to it. The truth is that you probably won't. I didn't until now. I know I didn't. This is her confession. She didn't either. Okay, we're getting real. We're authentic. We're being vulnerable here. I rarely went back to complete the exercises in other self-help books, or if I did, as soon as they got challenging or hit a raw nerve, I skipped them or stopped them completely out of the same fight or flight fear response I discussed earlier in this book. The exercises rocked my status quo, exposed my vulnerabilities, and questioned everything and everyone in my life. They terrified me because it meant questioning who I was. And if that wasn't who I was, then who was I? I love this kind of work. This is my jam. It wasn't until I chose to consciously and honestly complete each exercise that I was able to truly uncover a wealth of insights, revelations, and wisdom that played a momentous and pivotal role in my personal transformation. If you are truly committed to transforming your life from ordinary to extraordinary, it is critical that you complete each and all of the extraordinary sizes. In the process, you will uncover your passion, your life purpose, and an extraordinary life worth living and celebrating. Rock on, sister. She's my soul sister. Crossroads. Approach the crossroads of life, not with a heavy heart, but with the spirit of a great warrior, eager to set out on his vision quest. You've got this. You are at the crossroads of life. You have taken off your masks and you are feeling exposed and vulnerable. Fortunately, with awareness comes the opportunity to heal. But now what? Where do you go from here? You are at a crossroads and you have 3 choices. Choice number 1, you can put the old comfortable mask back on and continue to live under false pretenses. This explains how people stay in miserable marriages or relationships, some in which one spouse is having an affair and the other spouse consciously or unconsciously denies that it is happening. They continue to live a lie rather than exposing the truth because they believe that the consequences would be too painful. So they pretend ignorance or refuse to acknowledge the affair, and they suffer in silence. The mind is a wondrous thing. You can compartmentalize and command it to have selective focus. Choice number 2. You can get fitted with for a new mask with a superficial tune-up in which you think that you are as good as new. The new mask will come with a new set of faulty beliefs based on new goals that you think will bring you the happiness that has eluded you so far. Some examples are a change of residence, a new job, getting married, or having children. Things to make life better, perhaps. This is equivalent to slapping a Band-Aid on a patient who needs open heart surgery. Choice number 3. You can rise to your highest potential and take that step forward towards your authentic path. You will discover that with each step, you will gain a newfound sense of courage and empowerment. With each step, you will create the momentum and commitment to rise above your limiting beliefs and fears and move toward creating a higher and brighter level of consciousness that is in harmony with your authentic self. Theoretically, you have 3 choices, but in essence, there really is only one choice. You must rise to your highest potential and uncover your authentic self. You may be able to postpone, ignore, deny, or suppress the real you, but at what emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual cost? It is a 24/7 backbreaking, heartbreaking, emotionally draining task to live life as a slave to your counterfeit self. You can't run away from or ignore the authentic you. It'll come back to haunt you in the form of sleepless nights, self-esteem issues, frustration, fear, anxiety, anger, and dis-ease. Dis-ease or disease is really a dis-ease. Sorry. I've been using that all the time for like years. And she wrote it just the way I would have said it. Disease is really a dis-ease that your mind, body, and spirit are experiencing. It may seem like you have choices, but in reality, there's no real choice. You need to live a life of authenticity. To do this, you need determination and courage, but most of all, you need faith in something more powerful than yourself. You also need a burning desire to change, a desire to rekindle your passion for living. You do have the free will to postpone learning your life lessons, but at what cost to your health, your future, and your happiness? It is your crossroads. Take the road least traveled. It is the road that starts out with peaks and valleys and bumps and blind curves. But it is also the road that will build you the strongest muscles and the most powerful resilience and determination, fortitude and courage. It is also the most rewarding. It will take you on the most majestic adventures, bring you to the greatest heights of emotion, and show you the most abundant splendors. It is the most divine spiritual journey. It is the road that will make you feel the most alive, vibrant, and joyful. And as we conclude chapter 1, we go into extraordinary size number 5 in the Extraordinary You book. If you choose path number 1 or 2, you still haven't created enough leverage to strengthen your resolve to transform your life. I would like you to sit or lie down in a comfortable place where you won't be disturbed and close your eyes. Ask yourself the following questions. Eyes closed. These are your questions. Number 1. What will it cost me to do nothing or to take the path of least resistance? Not just in financial terms, but also emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually. How will it affect the quality of my life and that of my loved ones? Question 2. What will it cost me in 3, 9, 18, or 27 years? And 3, what will it ultimately cost me when I'm nearing the end of my life? Again, don't just list the answers. Feel the intensity of your emotions to increase your sense of urgency. This exercise will help you to develop the awareness and leverage to begin your own personal life journey toward rebirth and an extraordinary life. I'll read the questions one more time, and that will conclude Chapter 1 of Extraordinary You. Question 1. What will it cost me to do nothing or to take the path of least resistance? Not just in financial terms, but also emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually. How will it affect the quality of my life and that of my loved ones? 2. What will it cost me in 3, 9, 18, and 27 years? 3. What will it ultimately cost me when I'm nearing the end of my life? Don't live with your dreams still don't die with your dreams still inside of you. This is your time. Your time is now. So please take time to reflect on these extraordinary sizes. This is a gift you get to give yourself. This is a gift that Jacqueline Ortiz left for each and every one of us. And I'm really honored to be here with each and every one of you, because I know the journey of life can be tumultuous. I know that each one of us goes through milestones, whether it's career, whether it's relationships, whether it's losing people in our lives, losing our home, getting divorced. And I could tell you, I've experienced just about, you know what, I don't even want to put it out there, because I know there's things that I have not yet experienced, because each one of our lives are different, and there are so many varied millions of experiences that we could have in this world. But I want to honor and witness you for your journey of becoming extraordinarily you, your extraordinary you, because it isn't for the faint of heart. It's easy to just conform and chameleon into what the world around you needs. It's easy to put on those masks until it's not, until it's robbing you of your life. And it will if you haven't gotten there yet. And I've lived this journey. Like I said, Jacqueline Ortiz and I had parallel lives. And I'm so grateful to Jacqueline for writing this book, for taking us on this journey, because you deserve to live the life of your dreams, to live connected to your heart's desires, to follow your heart, which was so funny because I did a summit before I even met Jacqueline. And the summit was called the Follow Your Heart Show. And she's truly guiding me back on this journey to rediscover some of the reasons that I forgot about of why I'm on this journey. And so if you'd like to be a part of our book club, like, you could just follow along on YouTube and you can do this yourself. You can lone wolf it. And I understand, because I've done that a lot in my life. Or I'm going to create a free page where you can join and become a part of the Extraordinary You book club. Actually, it's just going to be a book club. It's going to be my book club. And it's not only going to be Extraordinary You, but it's going to be other books down the road. But you know what? I'm gonna honor Jacqueline, and I'm gonna say it's gonna be the Extraordinary You book club. And we're gonna meet there. We're gonna discuss what comes up for us and allow this to be an opportunity to heal and grow. So go ahead and join me on that journey if you'd like. And I'm doing this in honor of Jacqueline Ortiz. So feel free to join me there. I'll post the link in the comments below. All right. So here's to our extraordinary journey. And again, witnessing you for being willing to take this huge leap of faith, doing the extraordinary sizes so that you can come home to your own heart. And your light is needed in this world. You being you is one of the greatest gifts you could give to those you love, by being a role model of what it means to live authentically, because so many people are putting on masks. So many people are conforming, whether it's work or family or relationships. And it really is a suffocating experience. And so here's to Jacqueline Ortiz and you becoming extraordinarily you. Your extraordinary you. All right, we'll see you on chapter 2. Sending so much love your way, and I'm grateful you're here. Bye for now. All right, I look forward to hearing how you answered your questions. If you want to share anything, please feel free to put it in the comments here on YouTube if you're not going to join the book club. And allow yourself to be witnessed in some way, shape, or form. Or grab a partner, an accountability buddy, someone that you'd like to go through this process with together, someone who enjoys personal growth, someone who could use a lift up. Because this is a journey. Life is a journey, and we're all just walking each other home. I think it was Ram Dass that said that. We're all just walking each other home. And so I'm so glad we're here together, as you are helping me come home to my heart, and I get to be a contribution and offer guidance, helping you to come home to yours. So here's to living from our hearts and celebrating Jacqueline Ortiz and you becoming extraordinarily you. A synergistic approach to transforming your life from ordinary to extraordinary. Thank you, everybody. Bye for now.